Keep on rocking. Keep on rocking. Friends and family come together. One big mobbing carpinteria. Keep on rocking. Keep on rocking. Friends and family come together. One big mobbing carpinteria.
Borolula is my land. BLA is where I stand. I'm a hunter, I'm a man. I am proud of who I am. I'm proud of who I am.
Robinson, we keep it real. My hometown, we do not steal. January, Garawa, speak the truth. Barefoot warrior, don't need no boots.
I'm not gaming, that's the truth. Come to my town to have a look. Big Barramundi's on the hook. Take it home for me to cook. I'm DK, I got something to say. From Robinson to BLA. Crazy fisherman from Savannah Way. Listen up, y'all, I got something to say.
Keep on rocking. Keep on rocking. Friends and family come together. One big mobbing carpinteria. Keep on rocking. Keep on rocking. Friends and family come together. One big mobbing carpinteria.
Riding around with my motorbike. Ain't going home till I see the moonlight. My name is Davis, they call me Wissy. Making big dust when I'm drifting.
1, 2, 3 into the 4. Bernie and Rango at your door. Chosen on the beat, Toothy on the street. S. Evans, Big T, Charlie, Javis and Noah on the mic. Sonny's out here, he bustin' the rhyme. DK and Declan trying to get with ya. Don't get it twisted, his name is Sylvester. Throw your hands up now, give it everything, cause you know he's on the flow like Jaden King. Fire like a cannon, you down with Shannon. Borolula Robinson, you know we ain't trippin'. Staying in the game like a straight up player. Proving to the illest kid down with Mahala. Giving you this message as loud as a bell. Holding it down, deuces upside sound.
Bringing all the noise, his name is Tenace. RTL to BLA.
People always tell me, you flow so cruisy. Remember my name, the name is Tootie.
Come join us on this musical journey. I'll show you the way. My name is Benny.
We love to go hunting day and night. You should see what we catch, it's out of sight.
Fishing is the way, the life, and that's truth. I'm about to get loose, telling you that's my hooks. Feeding my family is always priority. Chuck a line out and there ain't nothing new to me.
Jay Hogan is here, full blood whiny man, here to represent my people and my land. BLA is where I come from. All the skills I know that once was heritage, that came from the old ones, but now it's my time. I'm standing up, I'm grabbing my books, I'm writing my notes, I'm making a rhyme. I'm ready to rap, I'm ready to speak, I'm ready to spit, I'm ready to stand for the young and speak for the old. I'm Jay Hogan, so what's up, BLA?
We're the barefoot warriors.
What?
We're the barefoot warriors.
Hey.
We're the barefoot warriors.
What? Walking around in the bush, we don't need no boots.
We're the barefoot warriors.
What?
We're the barefoot warriors.
Hey.
We're the barefoot warriors.
What? Walking around in the bush, we don't need no boots. Keep on rocking. Keep on rocking. Friends and family come together. One big mobbing carpinteria. Keep on rocking. Keep on rocking. Friends and family come together. One big mobbing carpinteria.
Welcome everybody, this is me and my brothers who just kicking back in the studio. And this is dedicated to my Yanyel and Garwa people. RTL and BLA, let's go!
Keep on rocking. Keep on rocking. Friends and family come together. One big mobbing carpinteria. Keep on rocking. Keep on rocking. Friends and family come together. One big mobbing carpinteria.
Borolula is my land, BLA is where I stand. I'm a hunter, I'm a man, I am proud of who I am. I'm proud of who I am.
Robinson, we keep it real. My hometown, we do not steal. January, Garawa, speak the truth. Barefoot warrior, don't need no boots.
I'm not gaming, that's the truth. Come to my town to have a look. Big Barramundi's on the hook. Take it home for me to cook. I'm DK, I got something to say. From Robinson to BLA. Crazy fisherman from Savannah Way. Listen up, y'all, I got something to say.
Keep on rocking. big Melvin, Coppin Terrier.
Riding round with the motorbike, ain't going home till I see the moonlight. My name is Davis, they call me Wissy, making big dust when I'm drifting.
1, 2, 3.
Good morning. Welcome back to Yirara.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to this beautiful Tuesday that we have. It's just me today, which is okay, but we're going to get into our second math lesson of the week. A lot of it's going to be focusing on our workbook tasks, but showing you practical ways on how we can complete those tasks as best as possible. So let's have a look at what we're learning today. We are learning to understand other words that mean the same as multiplication, and we showed that to you yesterday. We had two different words that mean the same as times or multiplication, and we're going to do that again, and we're going to solve more problems, and this way we're going to use some practical ways on how we can improve our skip counting or our times table skills. We're also going to solve word problems using our counting skills, and we'll do that on page 18 of our workbook. And as I mentioned, we will be completing our workbook tasks as we go throughout this lesson. Okay, so let's head to our work desk over here. And as you can see on page number 16 of your workbook, you will see that yesterday we completed the top row. Now we looked at two key words. We have lots of and groups of. Now these are two different ways of saying multiplication, and we've used it in this table over here. So as you can see, the answers that we've got at the top in the top row, along with these cubes, we're going to start using these cubes as a practical way to show you how to improve your multiplication. So using these two words, let's have a look at the second row. So the first question is 6 lots of 4. What does that mean? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab 4 cubes and I'm going to put it in 6 groups. So we have 1 group of 4, 2 groups of 4, 3 groups of 4, 4 groups of 4, 5 groups of 4, and 6 groups of 4. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We have 6 lots, right, with 4, and 4 in each group. Okay, so that, in another word, that is 6 lots of 4. So let's count these together. So we have 4 using our skip counting skills. We have 4 plus another 4 equals 8, plus another 4 equals 12, plus another 4 equals 16, plus another 4 equals 20, and another 4 gives you 24. So the answer for that first question in the second row, 6 lots of 4, is 24. Another way you can say that is 6 times 4 equals 24. Okay, let's do a few more together. So the next one, we have 6 lots of 2. So the same concept as the first one. We're now going to put 6 groups, but there's only going to be 2 groups in each group. So we've got 1 group of 2, 2 groups of 2, 3 groups of 2, 4 groups of 2, 5 groups of 2, 6 groups of 2. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We have 6 lots, and we have 2 cubes in each group. Now let's do our counting to solve that problem. How many do we have altogether? So we have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. So the answer to that second one is 6 lots of 2 equals 12. Another way you can say that is 6 times 2 equals, and that gives you the same answer. Okay. Now the next one has 3 lots of 2. So again, we have 3 lots, which represents the group, but there's still only going to be 2 in each group. So we have 1 group of 2, 2 groups of 2, 3 groups of 2. A much shorter problem here. So we have 3 here. Each group has 2. So we have 2, 4, 6. Another way you can say that is 3 times 2 equals 6. Okay. Let's move on to the next one. Now this looks like a big one. So we have 5 lots of 10. So we need 5 groups, but within each group we need 10. So I'm going to grab my 10 cubes. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Plus another 2 gives you 10. So that's 1 group of 10. Cool. Let's count just to make sure this is right. So 2, 4, 6, 8. Another 2. That's 2 groups of 10. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and another 2. 3 groups of 10. I'm going to mix up the colors now. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. 4 groups of 10. 3, 6, 9, 1. Cool. And that's 5 groups of 10. So as you can see here, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's 5 lots. And each lot, there's 10 cubes. So let's do the counting together. So 5 lots of 10 equals, we have 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. So all up, we have 50 cubes, which means 5 lots of 10 equals 50. All right. So hopefully you now understand what lots of means, and it's pretty much the same as groups of. And that helps you with your multiplication, especially with your counting. You can use practical ways, so use any objects around your school or your home, and hopefully that can help you with your counting, and it can actually increase your memory of increasing your times tables. And tomorrow's lesson will show you what a completed worksheet looks like, and hopefully you got the same answers. So I'm going to move this aside, and then I'm going to bring in page number 18 of your workbooks. Okay. Now at the top there it should say week 7, day 1. Now there was one lesson where we didn't run a live stream, hence why we're going to focus on page number 18. So the first question is, you are to think of a 4-digit number. It can be any number you want. So I'm going to think of the first 4 digit that comes to mind, right? So I'll do 7, 4, 2, 1. So if we were to say that number, 7421, how would we say that? So we have the 7 in the thousands column, the 4 in the hundreds column, the 2 in the tens column, and the 1 in the ones column. So in saying that, we have 7,421. Okay. If we were to write that in expanded form, so we would break that down. And if you remember that word partition, we would break those big numbers into much smaller numbers, so we're able to work with them easier. So we know that the 7 is in the thousands column, so that gives us 3 zeros, plus 4, which is in the hundreds column, so that's only 2 zeros, plus 2, which is in the tens column, that's only the 1 0, plus 1 has no 0 because that's only in the ones column. That's how you would write that in the expanded form, right? We can use the thousands, hundreds, tens, and ones frame, so you would simply draw a table like that. 1, 2, 3. So you would have the thousands, the hundreds, the tens, and the ones. So we just simply put the number in the correct column. So 7, 4, 2, 1. And that's another really easy way, especially to recap on our place value knowledge. Now, this is a tricky one. If we were to count back 3, all right, 3 before, so it's 7,421, right? So if we were to count back 3, what would that number be? So let's have a look and see if we can minus 3 from 7,421. We'll go 21, 20, 19, 18. So 7, 4, 1, 8. Minus another 3, 7, 4, 1, 5. And you minus another 3 from that ones column, 7, 4, 1, 2. All right, cool. Now 7,421 would be an odd number because it finishes with that number 1. Now what would the next odd number after that would be? So we would go 7, 4, 2, and the next odd number would not be 2 because 2 is an even number, so therefore we would put 3 there. Okay. Now the last part of that question is adding 100 onto that 4-digit number that you started with at the beginning. So we have 7421. So let's write that. And we would add 100. So using the column method, let's have a look and see what we can do. So the column method, we'd always start on the right hand side. So 1 plus 0, which is very easy, 1. 2 plus 0 is 2. 4 plus 1 is 5. 7 plus 0, there's nothing under there, gives you that answer of 7,521. Okay, so you would now move on to question number 2. You follow the exact same concept, but you are now to think of a 3-digit number, which should be a little bit easier given it's not as big as a 4-digit number. And hopefully you can move on and answer the rest of those questions. Now, if you remember the Bible story about Noah, right, and Noah and the ark, you will know that in the beginning of, in the book of Genesis, it states that Noah actually took 2 of every animal onto the ark. Now, that is what this question is mostly about. Okay, so if Noah saw 12 legs walk by into the ark, it gives you those questions. Question 3 down to question 10. How many creatures could he have seen? So if we know that, let's say each creature has 2 legs, all right? So if we halve that 12, we would know there's probably about 6 creatures, because we know that 6 times 2 gives you this answer over here, 12 legs, all right? What creatures could there be? So you can think of any creatures that has 2 legs, and I want you to put those answers there. How many legs do they each have? Now again, you can write down 2, because that's what we're looking at, and so forth. So if you keep moving on down to question number 10, hopefully you'll be able to answer some of those questions. But we'll move a little bit slower, and hopefully we can revisit some of those answers in tomorrow's lesson along with the next task. All right? So let's wrap up our math lesson for today. And let's have a look at our criteria. So what did we achieve today? We are able to solve our times tables using different words. So we have lots of and groups of. We're also able to use our counting and practical skills to solve our math word problems. So we use some of those cubes to help us with our number problems, but we added those words such as lots of and groups of into those problems. And we're able to complete pages 16 and pages 18 in our workbooks. And we'll revisit your answers on page 18 in tomorrow's lesson. So have a go, try your best, give it your all. Even if you might get it incorrect, just keep practicing, try and try again, and I'm sure you will be awesome. We'll see you tomorrow, same time, same place. We hope we'll see you then. Bye. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome back to the second half of our middle school learning for year 7 to 9. Now we're going to jump into integrated learning. So we'll finish our maths, let's put that aside, and let's get into our learning for integrated learning. So what are we learning today? We are learning to recap on what fauna means. Now this is a new word that we looked at yesterday, and we're going to revisit on what that exactly means. Number 2, we're going to describe different fauna found in Australia. So we're going to look at all the different animals from other states, particularly here in the NT, and we're going to see if we can identify them to be able to help us complete pages number 8 and number 9 in our integrated learning workbooks. And we're going to look at different images, like I mentioned, of different fauna to help us complete those tasks. Okay, so moving on to the next slide. What does fauna actually mean? Now, as I mentioned yesterday, fauna, just like flora, right, are native animals or wildlife that comes from a particular place, area, or country. Now, you might see 4 different animals there on the slide there, right? Now, if you haven't already noticed, those are probably animals you wouldn't find in Australia. So I'll put that up there on purpose because that is what fauna is. Fauna are only animals that come from a particular place or country, right, that you probably wouldn't find anywhere else. So, do you remember what some of those animals were? Let's identify them together. So, on the left-hand side of the slide, you'll see a warthog. Now, that's native to Africa. Now, you might only find it in Africa, you might find it in other parts of the world, but we know that it's a native animal to a certain country in Africa. Right? The next one is a type of bird, is a penguin. Now, you wouldn't find penguin in hot areas, no, right? You probably find penguins survive in much more colder areas. And penguins are actually fauna of Antarctica, which is, right at the bottom there, very, very cold. Penguins will probably not survive in hot weather, hence why you would not find them in a place like Alice Springs, for example. So, penguins are fauna of that particular place. The next one is a panda. And we know that panda typically are native to Asian countries. Now, pandas might be found in zoos around other countries around the world, but it doesn't necessarily mean they come from there or they are born there. Right? Pandas are actually native to a particular country or around Asia. And the last one is another type of bird. We have the kiwi, which is native to a country, was about 4 hours from here, 4-hour flight that is, which is New Zealand. Okay, now you wouldn't find kiwis in Australia unless it's in a particular place like Desert Park or any other type of area that they keep animals, but we know that kiwis are fauna to New Zealand or New Zealand fauna. Now, it's really important that we understand that word. Now, let's move on to the next slide. Now, as you can see, now we're getting into more fauna that we are much more familiar with. Now, you might recognize some of these animals simply because you've either seen them, you've probably hunted them, or you simply just like spending time with them. So we know that these animals you can see on the screen right now, so we have the goanna, we have the barramundi, we have turtles, we have kangaroo, we have the thorny devil. All of those familiar animals, you know about them because they come from Australia. Now, I don't know if you'd find a thorny devil anywhere else around the world, outside of Australia, but if you were, it'd probably be kept in a certain place, but we know that the thorny devil is particularly from Australia, same as the kangaroo, which is the fauna emblem or the fauna animal of the whole of Australia. And we're going to get into that very, very soon. So hopefully you understand what fauna means, just like flora, particular flowers from a particular area, same as animals, which is known as fauna. Okay. Now let's move on to the next slide. Fauna in Australia, and let's break down some key facts about the animals we looked at in yesterday's workbook task. So, the kangaroo. We know some cool facts about the kangaroo. It is the national fauna emblem of Australia, which means that Australia is typically known for the kangaroo, just like New Zealand is known for the kiwi. It is the fauna emblem of this country. Kangaroos, if you didn't already know, it's the largest marsupial in the world, and a group of kangaroos traveling together or together is actually called a mob. So you'd know that it's a mob of kangaroos. It's a really, really good ideas about what the kangaroo is all about. Okay. Now the goanna. Now I know for some of you, this is your favorite food, and it's been a long tradition for Aboriginal people to be hunting goanna as a main food source, which is awesome, and I'd love to try it one day. But some key facts about the goanna. We know that it's found all over Australia, especially bush areas with grass and trees, because they love to climb trees very, very fast. But if you probably already know this, they're actually very scared and very shy of humans. So catching them might not be easy, especially maybe for me, but you can definitely help me out with that. We know that goannas are carnivores. What does carnivores mean? It means that goannas actually feed on other animals, and that's what goannas are all about. Okay. The next one is, we probably find this near the top end, around lots of water. You probably won't find many of these here in Alice Springs or around the desert, but if we go to the top end, where many of you are from, we know that freshwater turtles can be found all over the world, but is very popular in the warm waters of the top end of the NT. They're actually protected not by one, but by two shells. They may be slow, but they actually make a lot of noise. They're very, very loud animals, and that's what freshwater turtles are all about. Okay. Now the barramundi, very, very popular fish. We know that it's very tasty, but what are some other things that we know about the barramundi? We know that the barramundi is the natural fauna from the waters of North Australia. So again, the top end, and we looked at those words such as north, east, south, and west, and it actually goes right up to Southeast Asia. And that's where the barramundi typically likes to be in terms of their waters and their homes. It's actually nearly impossible to overcook the barramundi, right? So the longer you cook it, it doesn't actually overcook. And you probably know that by eating the barramundi yourselves, but there's also lots of competitions to catch barramundi, or the biggest barramundi around Australia. Okay. The next one is a very interesting animal, very unique to Australia. Lots of tourists are really interested in this animal, is the Thorny Devil. Now it actually gets its name from a human sacrifice god. And if we read a little bit about that, it actually dates right back to Latin history, and that's where the Thorny Devil actually gets its name from. It's well known to eat lots and lots of ants, but very, very fast paced. So they love their ants, and that's probably one of their main sources of food. And they can actually puff up their bodies. They can puff their bodies up to be a lot bigger than they actually are. So in that picture that you can see, it's probably not as puffed up or not as kind of big, but Thorny Devils have the ability to puff their bodies up to be of a bigger size. Okay, and our next one is we're going to get into our work desk, and we're going to focus on the next part of our table here. So yesterday we managed to match up the correct animals to the correct facts. So we know that the kangaroo is probably the most famous animal, and it is the fauna emblem of Australia. Jumps really high, and those are you can find these facts and these bullet points over here. So Mr. Keegan drew an arrow from there to the correct animal. The goanna. Now we know that the goanna is scared of humans, is good at climbing trees. I wonder where that falls. Now it says over here, it runs really fast, it's good at climbing trees, and it's scared of humans. I think that's the goanna right there. Cool, so we're going to link that up. We've done the barramundi, which goes to the top one, and we've also done the Thorny Devil. Loves to eat ants, can change colors and also change sizes, and it has a very funny walk. Let's move to the other side of our table over here. So we have 5 very, very familiar animals to a lot of you. Okay, so at the top, I'm pretty sure we have a snake there. We have a crocodile. We have the honey ants. We have the echidna, and then we have the bilby there at the bottom. So your task is to match the correct facts to the correct pictures. Let's see what we can do. So the first fact is the biggest reptile in the world, and it's actually related to dinosaurs. So out of these pictures, which animal do you think is related to dinosaurs? I don't think it'll be the honey ants. I don't think it'll be any of these two. It might be the snake, but I don't think the snake is the biggest reptile in the world. So I think it's the crocodile. Cool. So it's simple. There's your task right there. So I want you to move on and read through those facts and see if you can connect those facts to the correct picture. And we'll revisit your answers in tomorrow's lesson. So moving right along, on page number 9 is a really, really fun task. And this is where you get to tell me about some of the animals that you've found in your community. So let's read through the task. Brainstorm some of the animals you know or have seen in your community or around the NT. I want you to choose one animal from your brainstorm and write a short story about the time you saw this animal in this box below. So around the cloud over here, you can see lots of blue arrows, and your task is to write as many animals as you can that you've seen in your community. So I know lots of animals that you've probably told me about is kangaroo. So I'd write kangaroo there because I know there's lots of kangaroos in your communities. There's the goanna. Lots of you have also seen some snakes. Cool. And some really, really cool stories about honey ants. Now, I want you to go and complete the rest of those arrows and see if you can tell me about all the different fauna or all the different animals that you've seen in your very own community. Right? Some communities will have different animals or different fauna based on where you are in the NT, because you might be based around water, so therefore you might have turtles. Or you might be based in the desert, which is a lot more dry, and you'll have certain fauna that's related to that type of weather. The thing I'm looking for the most is one animal I have seen in my own community and you will choose an animal from around that cloud, and then I want you to write a story describing a time where you saw this animal. And I want you to try and see how much you can write. If you can't get to the bottom of that square, that's okay. I just want you to write as much as you can and do the best you can to describe your story of seeing one of the animals that you've written down in the cloud above this box. Okay, and then to finish off, very, very easy, on page number 10, we have a word find, and this one is based on kangaroos, right? Another really popular fauna of Australia, and I want you to see and if you can find all of these key words that relates to the kangaroo, that will increase your knowledge about fauna in Australia. Okay, so we'll leave it right there. Hopefully that's a lot of different activities for you to move on and now complete on your own, and we'll revisit a lot of those answers in tomorrow's lesson. So let's have a look at what we achieved today. We are able to explain what fauna means. So hopefully the next time I ask you what fauna means, you're able to respond to me with the right answer. We're able to describe some cool facts about fauna in Australia. So we looked at all those different facts about those different animals or those different fauna, and hopefully you're able to remember those when we talk about fauna around this country. And we're able to describe the different fauna, and we're going to use that knowledge to complete pages 8 and pages 9 about animals from your community in our workbooks. And then you can have a bit of a break. Hopefully you can complete that word find on page number 10, and we'll revisit those answers tomorrow. Cool. All right, so thank you for tuning in. We look forward to seeing you for another great lesson of integrated learning and maths in our middle school. Same time, same place. We look forward to seeing you then. Bye.
To be with you today. So today we're going to be exploring the different computing softwares that we can use. At school we use Windows, but a lot of people would like to use Mac. So we're going to explore the differences, how they're used, and also the similarities. So let's go take a look. In digital technologies in the classroom, we often use Windows. And we're discussing the differences between Apple and Windows, two different ecosystems of technology. And so the biggest difference between the two of them is that Windows provides an opportunity to work with other kinds of software and other operating systems. Apple is a closed-off system, so it only accepts other Apple products. Now, there are pros and cons to both sides of this argument. So neither one is better or worse. They're just both different. They both operate in different ways and provide you with different opportunities to do things. So, let's say about 12, 15 years ago, Apple dominated the market in terms of its creativity, the ability to do Photoshop, the ability to do Movie Maker, all these sort of things. A lot of big movie companies use Apple. Meanwhile, Microsoft dominated the gaming platform and the business world with the simplicity of its layout. However, today, they're both on par. They both do well in the business world, they both do well in creativity. Yes, there are strengths and weaknesses to both of them, but it often comes down to your preference, what you prefer to use. And so we're going to take a look at a video clip of two different phones. One is Apple, Mrs. Threat's phone, and we're going to look at the display of the apps, how they're laid out, how they look, and how the operating system actually works. Then we'll look at my phone, which is an Android phone, and we're going to look at how that system works, how it operates. So let's go take a look at that. So here we are with Mrs. Threat's phone. She has an Apple. So as you can see, we have all the apps displayed on the screen. There's nowhere to really navigate besides from these front screens. But as we can see, we have these various apps. First of all is the clock. We have the times, we have the stopwatch, we have the various other cities that you can look at of their times. The next one is the photos. And this is Miss Threat's actual grandson. And this is how the Apple uses their photos. And the next one we're going to look at is the weather. This is the weather app. And it can show you the max weather for the coming days, the humidity, the rainfall, all sorts of different things. But take a look at the design, because that is the key difference between the different operating systems. And here's the camera. Apple often has had a very high quality camera with a lot of different functions. And so moving on, we have the App Store, where you can download various different things, games, useful schooling apps, calculators, whatever you would like to do. But this is the Apple App Store. It has some exclusive apps, and it has some apps that crosses over between Android. So now we go to an Android phone. There's my daughter, Charlotte, looking shocked as always. So Android is run by Linux, and it's a similar software to Microsoft or Windows. It's more customizable. And so on the front here, you can see a little white strip. That's my little quick Google search. So if I press onto it, you can see all my recent searches. And this is something that Apple doesn't quite have, is an app library where you can display separately to my main screen. So first of all, let's look at the clock. I can have my timers, my alarms, my around the world clock, I see London and Adelaide times, my stopwatch. And going from here, I can go photos, which I have on the front screen there. And I have different categories or different folders, camera, screenshots, downloads, various things I like to take a look at. Now the next thing, let's look at weather. My weather is on the front screen right here where I can see it all the time. If I click onto that, see how it's similar to Apple? I can see the weather, I can see the rainfall, which nothing's, look at it's coming up for a while. And yeah, and so this is the difference between Apple and Android. The Android can often be a little bit more customizable to your preference. But did you realize the similarities between the clock, the photos, the weather app? Very similar. So when we talk about Android versus Apple, what are we actually focusing on? And now we can look at the camera. The camera is very similar in quality. They have both come up significantly over the years. And they're both very similar in quality and yeah. And the next part is looking at the App Store. Google Play is the App Store for Android. And again, there are some apps that aren't compatible, so they're only Apple, but then also Android has some apps that are only Android. But then again, most apps are cross-platform, which meaning they can go onto both. I can go movies, books, apps, educational apps, games, whatever I would like to look at. So I hope you enjoyed that little video. And as you can see, they're both very similar. The apps look similar, the way they're run is very similar. Often the biggest difference is how you navigate or go through the phone. And so, as I said before, it comes down to your personal preference. When it comes to working in schools and businesses, often Windows can be an easier system to work with because it can go across different platforms and work with servers a little bit easier. However, a lot of companies do prefer Apple when they're in the creative industry. So, to wrap it up, at school we use Microsoft, we use Windows. However, for your personal choice, that's up to you. You can see what you are looking at doing, and that can help you. All right, so that wraps it up for today, guys. Thank you so much for being here, and I'll see you next time.
To my brothers out there that's struggling, hustling, keep your head up, cause we do care. I know you're fed up, just keep your head up, just keep your head up. To my brothers out there that's struggling, hustling, keep your head up, cause we do care. I know you're fed up, just keep your head up, just keep your head up.
I woke up one day and I'm feeling truly blessed. With this life I got to live, but my hand on my chest, praying for the best, living in the moment, that's the truth. While I'm telling you, get it too, you know, that's how we do it. To my brothers and my cousins, I'm the struggle, listen. Prove the way for the future and the body distance. Keep the faith, make a change, reach for the star, putting it up, holding it down while I spit these bars.
In this time or another, when we need each other, I look around, all I see is a brother from another mother. So don't stress, put me to the test. I'm SD, RTL, best of the best. This is to my day one. Brother Jake, hey, you were with me from the start, showing me the way. Forever grateful for your love and care in my life. Time for me to keep going, let's feel the hype.
To my brothers out there that's struggling, hustling, keep your head up, cause we do care. I know you're fed up, just keep your head up, just keep your head up.
My brother,
To my brothers out there that's struggling, hustling, keep your head up, cause we do care. I know you're fed up, just keep your head up, just keep your head up. That's my brother, that's my cousin, that's my brother, that's my cousin, that's my brother. That's my brother, that's my brother, that's my brother. I hope this message healed the damage that was inflicted on you. So I'm taking it from you, cause I'd rather see my brothers loving and loving instead of suffering and struggling. Just hope one day my brothers can find a lot. Nothing better than seeing them succeed and living a better life. So they better believe I'ma be standing by their side, I'ma be their God. That they never had, that they never had.
We see coming at ya, looking at for my brothers. Respect for each other, respecting your mothers. We do the right thing, representing the youth. Ain't about lying, it's all about truth. Look after your mom, be an inspiration. Keep the torch burning for the first people of nation. Look up to your elders, listen to their lesson. Hear us when we tell ya, we ain't even messing.
To my brothers out there that's struggling, hustling, keep your head up, cause we do care. I know you're fed up, just keep your head up, just keep your head up.
my brother,
To my brothers out there that's struggling, hustling, keep your head up, cause we do care. I know you're fed up, just keep your head up, just keep your head up. That's my brother, that's my cousin, that's my brother, that's my cousin, that's my brother. That's my brother, that's my brother, that's my brother.
Try and stay positive, that's all I ever hear. I'm real sick and tired, being stuck in first gear, never knowing what tomorrow might bring. Thank God for my brothers, for the song of the sing. It's a song of hope, the future might hold. A brighter day for us, the young and the old. Looking up to the sky, the sun and the moon. I feel it in my bones, a change is coming soon.
Never easy leaving family all the way from home. Thankful for my brothers never leaving me alone. I'm from BLA, so far away. I got my boys, got my brothers, I'm here to stay. Representing BLA, all I got to say. So I pray to God it's gonna be a better day. God's gift to me is being who I want to be. To my family at Bush, let's keep the peace.
Jay Hogan is back again to tell my brothers out there to stand up. Don't be silent, to keep your life. I know it's hard to keep clean, but that ain't an excuse to do the stupid things you do to relax your mind, but then do the time. I'm just saying, forget that, keep your head up, shoot for the moon, aim for the stars. Don't be scared, cause I'm here, my brother, to stand next to you and the rest of the crew to stop the struggling, stop the struggling.
Coming all the way from YC with the gang. Me and all my brothers feel so much pain. See my people fighting, oh there must be a change. Protect their own, or we'll never be the same.
Listen up what we say. We always stick together. Through thick and thin we stick. We never say never.
If you're feeling down, you know where to go. You go to the place where people call you bro. Riding at the store when the time is tough. My brothers make it better when enough.
You know who you can trust. It's clear to see. We've got each other's backs, my brothers and me.
To my brothers out there that's struggling, hustling, keep your head up, cause we do care. I know you're fed up, just keep your head up, just keep your head up.
My brother.
To my brothers out there that's struggling, hustling, keep your head up, cause we do care. I know you're fed up, just keep your head up, just keep your head up. That's my brother, that's my cousin, that's my brother, that's my cousin, that's my brother, that's my.
Good morning.
Welcome back to Yirara.
Hello everyone, Year 10 Maths, Dave and I are here together.
Hi.
So we thought because you've been away for a little while, we'd take you for a little walk around campus and show you perhaps what you're missing or what you remember. So watch carefully, relax as we go for a stroll around campus.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's me and Miss Andrea here. We're just going around the school to have a look at what it looks like at the moment to let you know what things look like at the moment. And here we have the new outdoor classroom that was built last term. So it's looking pretty good. The grass is green and everything is looking wonderful here on campus.
Hi everyone, Miss Andrea here. So we've got to the pool. Doesn't it look beautiful? It's still so hot here. And the fellas were over on the weekend for a big swim. Look like they're having a nice time.
Hello kids, how's it going? Hope you're back at school soon.
So we're up near Girls Academy now, and this is Miss Pam's beautiful mural, and she wrote at the bottom, for the ladies past, present and future. So she sent her love. She's over in Queensland working now, but she hasn't forgotten us.
The AFL field here at Clontarf is looking really nice. The green grass and it's soft paddock and just looking great here where they water it over here by the goal. So can't wait for you guys to be back here kicking the footy around and having a great time over here at Clontarf. Some of the fellas have made the new Brumby sign for you, Mob. So there's the new Brumby sign that some of the students have helped the teachers with.
Well, we're just walking through the fellas' side. Look how empty and quiet it is.
Here we are still at male boarding and we've got some workmen over here working on P-dorm. And you wouldn't believe, fellas and ladies, that the grass has grown back over by the kitchen. So there used to be dirt, but with the big rains a month ago, we got grass back.
Yeah, well. Okay. So we're just inside the chapel here now. Pastor Basil's gone home for a little while. But it's looking good and it's nice and quiet and peaceful. Oh, well that was beautiful, Dave. I thought your camera work was nice.
Oh, thanks, miss. Yeah.
And I hope they enjoyed it too. Yep. My favourite part was the two crows.
Yeah.
Yeah? Which part did you like?
Oh, I love Miss Pam's painting, you know. That's my favourite part. It's such a wonderful painting. So.
She is and we miss her.
Yeah, yeah.
But we're lucky here at Yirara and it's looking nice and green, yeah?
Yeah. It's just the rain a few weeks ago has just made it so wonderful here. Beautiful green grass everywhere. So it's looking great.
All right. Well, we've had a bit of a relax. We better get on with our work. What do you think?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is work taken off your worksheet. And so for question 1, it says Simon bought 2 different items and paid $35. So if you could write 35 there, Dave.
Sure.
And I might swap places with you.
Okay.
$35?
Yep, okay.
Okay, so he bought 2 items. So if he spent $35, did he buy the hood and a singlet, 30 plus 24? No, too much.
Too much.
It looks like I've made it easy for you. What about these 2 together? The hoodie and the backpack.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Could you write that 30 plus 5?
Sure. 30 plus 5.
And it gets to?
Equals 35.
All right, so let's give ourselves a tick for that because we've got the first one right. Second one. Shelley bought 3 different items from the same shop and she paid $35.50. So we've got 3 now. $35.50, 3 items. Do you think we could start with the singlet, 24?
Okay. Try that, 24.
And what would these two together make? $3.50 and $2.50 would $6?
Yep, sounds like it.
But we're going for $35.50. I think we might have to do the backpack.
Okay. Plus
Yep.
$5.
That gets us to 29. And now we need $6.50. 5, 6. I should have checked this before we did it, Dave.
What are we looking for?
3
what number?
different items.
What?
So $35.50.
$35.50.
3 different items.
27,
27, 30, 30, 50, 33, 35.
You got 24 plus 350 plus 250 is
30.
30, yeah.
I might have made a mistake when I copied this over.
Sure.
I think we better pause that
Sure.
and go on to...
Go back to it.
Yeah, Billy bought 2 different items from the same shop. He paid $6. Okay, so this one's only 2 items
Yep.
for $6.
$6. Okay.
Backpack and one
Yep.
of these? No.
No.
What about adding these together? 0 plus 0 is
Okay.
0.
Yep.
5 and 5 is 1.
Yep.
Carry 1. 3, 2, 5,
3.
and 1 is 6. So let's do 350 plus 250
350 plus 250
equals $6.
equals $6.
Okay, we've got that. We might just put our
Yep.
dollar signs in.
Yep.
Big question mark on that. We've got a bit of a mess there. Okay, question 4. Patty received $39 change from a $50 note. She bought 3 items. What were the 3 items? So, 50 minus 39. 9 from 10 is 1. So she spent $11.
Well, I guess we start with 5.
Let's start with that.
Yep. $5.
Yep. Plus, we know that these add up to 6.
Yep.
So let's just add straight away a 6 there.
Sure. Okay. $6 on those 2 items.
And 5 and 6 is?
Well, that's $11, miss.
Perfect. Okay. Now, Danny received $46 change from a $100 note. He bought 2 items. So we're going to have to do our minus first. We might clean this board and start again.
Sure, okay.
There's some spray there.
Yep. Okay.
So 100, take away 46. 6 from 10 is 4. 5 from 10 is 5. That's done. So he spent $54. Oh, that's dead easy. I
Yep.
can see it straight away. What do you reckon?
He's bought a hoodie.
Yep.
For $30, and he's bought his favourite singlet for another $24.
He has indeed.
And that equals $54. 30 plus 24 is 54.
Excellent. Okay, we won't do it any more of the worksheet. Can you do some shopping, Dave? What
Sure.
you would buy?
All right. I might go for 1 backpack, $5. Plus, I might buy 2 hats, $3.50 plus $3.50. So we've got 5 and 3 is 8. 8 and 3 is 8 and 3 is 11, and you got the 50 cents, so it's $12.
Perfect. So I think if I went in, I'm listening to Tyson, I reckon the backpacks are so cheap, I would get 2 backpacks. Plus, it's so hot up here, a visor is not enough because you're hot on the head, so I would get a couple of hats. And you see how I'm putting them in brackets, Dave?
Yep.
Because if I didn't, this would all run together, like it would be too messy. So I have to work this out first, $10
Yep.
plus 7, and I would have spent $17. How did we go?
Yep.
You only spent 12, I spent
Not bad.
17.
If, yeah.
I think we've covered the ground, Dave.
Yep.
Thanks for your help,
No worries.
and look forward to tomorrow.
It's my
Thanks,
pleasure.
everybody.
Bye for now.
Bye now.
afternoon, all you wonderful people out there. And I hope you enjoyed Miss Andrea's walkabout around school. I didn't get to see it myself because I was preparing my lesson for you. We're continuing. Oh, sorry. My high five to Mr. Tyson for being there, ready and always punctual. We're continuing with our team working. And I got hold of Mr. Stan to tell me about teamwork. How does teamwork look like? What does teamwork look like in the world of Clontarf? So please have a listen and I'll get back to you. Excellent. Now, yesterday I spoke to my students online and I mentioned teamwork. During my talk, I spoke about the 4 C's. That is commitment, contribution, communication, and cooperation.
Yep.
Now, I remember last year the Yirara Brumbies won a very prestigious game. And I used that photo. So can you please tell us how they made use of the 4 C's to win the game?
Well, the Yirara Brumbies won the Territory Cup, which is a territory-wide competition for all Clontarf academies right across the NT.
Wow.
They're up against more than a dozen other Clontarf academies, including the ones in Darwin too, that are normally high rated.
Yep.
So to win that, they needed to produce lots of teamwork. I'll start with the first C, commitment.
Okay.
And that started out on the training track. Our fellas get up, I think about 6:15, 2 times a week, and get out on the training track here and train before they start school. They
That's
do that
very early.
They do that on Wednesdays and Fridays.
Wow.
And that takes a lot of commitment. But that commitment pays dividends because they would have worked better as a team because they've trained with each other so often. They understand each other's strengths and weaknesses.
Yep.
And that could translate to something like knowing that he's a long kick of the ball, I can head further down this way and we can get more distance out of it. Or he's a left footer, I know I've got to go out that side. So that teamwork comes from the commitment of training together more often.
Yep.
And I guess the other thing that happens from all that training is you're fitter anyway, generally, as a team. Communication, very important, I think, in a game of football. I think most people actually underestimate communication out on the field, how valuable it can be.
So how do they talk when they're on the field?
You talk, and it's real important. It's a skill. I'll give you an example. We know footy's a sport where the person with the ball can be tackled and thrown to the ground, and it can hurt. Communication from your teammates can let you know whether or not you've got time, you're not going to be tackled, you can have a good look around for someone to deliver the ball to, or the communication can indicate that you're under the pump and you better get rid of it quickly before you do get caught and tackled. And the 2 simple things we normally communicate in that situation in footy is you're clear. Then the player knows because you can be tackled from any direction in footy. You can't see all 4 angles.
Yes.
But if he hears that call, I'm clear, he knows he can actually steady, check out the best option to give the ball to. When you hear that call, you're hot. Get rid of it quickly, just get it in our direction as quick as you can and at least you won't get hurt.
Okay.
So that's an important example.
That's interesting.
Of how communication helps with teamwork. Cooperation, I would list playing your role in the team as cooperation. We've got 18 different positions out on the field. We've got 4 replacements sitting on the bench, but all those positions require a different sort of play. So it's no use having a team full of blokes that just want to play in the one position. You might have lots of talent that sort of fits that one position, but you've got to spread it out through the field, and there's different ways to play at different ends in the field. If you're down in the back line, your job is to stop the opposition forwards getting goals, and there will be certain team rules for you there that don't apply in other positions. So you've got to cooperate.
Yeah.
Yep, I've been put there for my team, I've got to play my role. In the back line, our coach has said we must punch from behind in a marking contest. So cooperate and play that role. If you're at the other end of the ground, the coach is probably saying you can still try and take the mark from that not being in a front position. because down there it doesn't matter as much with the opposition market. They've still got to get at the other end of the field. So all those different positions on the field have to fit together, and blokes have to cooperate for that to work. Contribution, sometimes it's just not a good day for an individual. We can't all walk out every game and just have a great game.
Yes.
Sometimes they are just some bad days for some people. But part of working within a team is even when you're having that bad day, you still try and contribute to your team. That can be in your role, in your position. Could be as simple as something as shepherding for a teammate. Means you're not even going to get the glory of getting the ball. Your teammate is about to get it. But if you can get in the road of someone trying to tackle him, you've made a little bit extra effort, you've contributed. Now he's got time to get away, he doesn't get caught with the football. So that's one small way of contributing. There's many ways of contributing through a game. You can just run hard to get down there and stand on someone so the opposition don't kick to him. You don't even really get involved in the play, but you've made a contribution by blocking that avenue for the other team to go forward. So there's some examples of how the 4 C's help you with teamwork, and that team there were really good at using the 4 C's.
I remember. Now, as you can see or hear, Stan had a lot to say about how things work. Now, many of those ideas that he gave can be transferred. So, we are going to have a look at another clip with Mr. Stan, and in that clip, he's going to give us 3 specific tips that we are going to fill in on our worksheet. So let us have a listen to the next clip. Now, Mr. Stan, putting you on the spot here because I did not tell you I'm going to ask you this question. Are there 3 tips or 3 strategies you can tell our viewers about teamwork? Things that they should do?
Well, when it comes to sport, I'm 100% for getting to training. 100% for getting to training. That's how you become familiar with all your teammates, their strengths and weaknesses. That's a no-brainer for me. That's just get to training, and all things in sport, I think, stem from your training. And what else are we looking at here?
Just tips for the students.
Just around the teamwork side of things?
The teamwork side of things, yes.
If you've been given some set rules by your coach, stick to them.
Yes.
To deviate from them isn't being a part of the team. And if you deviate from them,
you'll get into trouble.
Well, you bring your team undone because everyone else is on the one page.
Yes.
And we're going to do this. Oh, hang on. He's not doing that. He's off doing his own thing. We're going to kick the ball to him over there. Why is he over here? So stick to that. I had a coach probably refer to that as don't be the weak link in the chain. Is to get us to all put our arms together before the start of a last quarter. So feel the strength in that. That's a chain. But one weak link and your chain is broken. So that can apply to your team as well.
Right.
So don't be the weak link. Teamwork, do the little extras. Okay. And again, look, I probably always come back to football.
Yes.
When I think about a team, but do the little extras, the things that you're not recognised as being a star for doing. Chase the bloke on the other side that's got the ball. Don't just let him run down there. Chase him, put pressure on him. You might not even get to him, but if he can feel the pressure, his kick might not be as good as what it could have been if he wasn't under pressure. Go over and shepherd for your teammate. It's amazing. Sometimes you only have to stick one arm out like that, one little effort like that, and then this bloke's got to take 3 steps to get around you to get to your teammate. Just the little things like that.
Okay.
Work on the little parts of the game as well.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Stan.
Always a pleasure, Miss Flo.
And there you have it, people. A few things that I've learned today about footy. Have a lovely time and see you again. Right, so there you have it. Mr. Stan gave us 3 tips. So what I've done is I've written it down and I'm going to show you because I'm not expecting you to remember all of this. First thing Mr. Stan said is be sure to turn up to all your meetings, to all your get-togethers. Turn up. That means you need to be there. Don't say I'm going to come and then and disappear. So, turning up, very important. Half the battle won. Number 2, when decisions get made, stick to those decisions. Stick with a plan. So that is what we're going to write. Stick with the plan. Don't deviate. You've decided you're going to meet again. You've decided I'm going to do this and the other person's going to do that. Stick to the plan. Do not try and do everything. And the last one for teamwork is do that little bit of extra. Okay? Do that little extra. So go that extra mile. If you see your partner is getting stuck on something, help them out. Even if you don't get the glory, at the end of the day, teamwork makes the dream work, as they say. So there we go. Let's have a lovely time. Enjoy. Bye-bye.
Hey guys, and welcome back to another week of Yirara to You Health. Last week we did some work looking at what a drug is and identifying things that are or are not considered a drug. Before we get started, I want to hear from you guys. Open your work booklets to lesson 2 and you'll find a space to write down anything that you know about drugs. Do you know the name or names of one drug? I want you to write down what you know about that drug and how it affects a person. Do they speak or move or act differently? And how do you think it's changing the way that that person's brain or body works? So our lesson today is looking at how drugs affect the human body. By the end of today, you should be able to describe what changes can be seen when a person is under the effects or influence of drugs. And you should be able to outline for me some of the longer term effects that come with using a drug for an extended period of time. Let's get started. Read through this slide and use it to help complete the closed passage in your activity booklet. Be sure to cross out the words in the word bank once you've used them. Essentially, all drugs affect our body in different ways and can be different from one person to another. You might act, feel, or think differently if you have taken a drug. How a drug affects a person depends on several things. Firstly, their body size. A drug will affect a person differently or in different quantities based on the size of the person who has consumed the drug. Secondly, their general health. Thirdly, the amount and strength of the drug taken. And lastly, whether there are already other drugs present in the body.
When I was about 12, I started smoking marijuana. By the time I was like 14, 15, I was using amphetamines and ice and ecstasy. And 17, 18, I was on heroin.
The second drug I tried was heroin, and I liked that straight away.
I learned from a young age to not speak out hurt and just bottle it in.
I got involved with prostitution to afford my habit.
People did used to tell me that it's harmless, that it won't hurt, just a little bit, try it.
My life revolved around drugs. I wouldn't go to school unless I could get drugs. I wouldn't go see my family unless I could get drugs. That's all my life entailed, getting high.
To be quite honest, it did take away the hurt, but it didn't take away the problems.
It was controlling me.
It had control of me.
You know, at 18, they were getting on with their lives, going to university, working full time, and I was drinking daily and smoking dope. and hating myself.
I just didn't care. I was just, as long as I had money to get my drugs.
I'm telling myself that it won't go on forever.
Let's just be happy. And drugs made me feel happy at the start.
Mum, can you babysit for an hour? I promise I'm only going to be an hour. 2-3 weeks later, I'd come back. I missed my son's first day of school. It was my mum and my sister. You know, that's a pretty big thing.
You know, I tried it with this girlfriend of mine and she smoked dope regularly. I was really sick and I was actually really frightened. I said I felt like I was going to have a heart attack. And I really felt like I was dying.
You're self-medicating for whatever reason.
Pain, hurt, was all just pushed so deep, I just didn't have to feel. I was like a zombie, an emotional zombie, that's what I was.
I started getting paranoid, just of what people were thinking about me.
You look disgusting. You don't care about yourself. You don't care about the way you look. You don't care about whom you hurt.
It didn't just affect me. I said I have 2 beautiful children and they have been deeply and forever affected because of my drinking and drug taking.
And I remember sitting in there going, I'm going to get heroin tomorrow. Like, I cannot deal with this. I'm going to get heroin.
If you tried it that once, could you tell me what you would do if after that one time of you trying it, you liked it, and then before you know it, I mean, like I said, 5 days, and I was addicted to heroin. 5 days.
There's no real life behind drugs. There's none. And, well, look at me at the moment. And now I'm off drugs, I can talk to you like a normal person. Before, man, I was gone.
I've had 4 miscarriages, all due to drugs.
The emotional problems, they stay there and they fester. It's like sweeping dirt under a mat.
Yeah, just want a normal life.
What turned my life around, really, was the realization that I couldn't live like that anymore. I just thought I'll do anything to get my life in order.
Yeah, I am in a new space right now and I'm learning the truth about myself and who I am, and replacing all them lies that I've had built into me throughout my past and my life.
And self-worth through my faith and just a different bunch of people around me has just changed my outlook on what the world could be.
Yeah, find someone they could trust and someone they could talk to and open up, and like a burden shared is a burden halved.
So there's something bigger, stronger, clearer and true. Something, yeah, that I hold on to now.
If I had my life over again, I absolutely would not touch anything at all. Any drug, alcohol, no way.
All drugs have both short and long-term effects. Short-term effects of drugs are fairly obvious and last only as long as the drug is present in the human body. Long-term effects are the result of lasting and more permanent damage done to the body by extended use of a drug. The effects can be both physical and psychological and can range from being relatively minor through to being life-threatening. Our final activity for today is copying down 3 short-term and 3 long-term effects of drug use. Have a read through this list and pick some that you think are most important.
You ain't ready. You ain't ready. You ain't ready for change.
Only you can make the changes. Coming home in the paddy wagon, probably cause of the window you were smashing. Then with your friends the next day at school bragging, and maybe wagging with your pants swagging, talking about this and that. Looking at your friends, you wanna copy that. Don't be a copycat, cause you will fall and stumble. Can't trust anybody these days.
Good morning.
Welcome back to Yirara.
Hi senior students, we're back here again looking at our integrated learning, and remember we're going to be looking at alcohol in a few minutes, but I've got a couple of stories to tell you first, and these are a couple of my favourite stories, so hopefully you can appreciate it. The first one's actually it happened here at school, and I know you're going to find this hard to believe, but I was in the library the other day talking to someone there on the bench and looking at some of the books, and all of a sudden the door opened and a chicken walked into the library, and it jumped up on the bench and it goes bok, 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 bok. And I looked at the other teacher looked at me, and I said, does that chicken want a book? And the chicken goes bok, 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 bok. So we grabbed a book and held it out. The chicken tucked it under its wing, jumped down off the counter and walked out. And we just sort of looking at each other going, what did we just witness? What's going on? Well, a couple of minutes later, we're still a bit baffled by this whole thing. The chicken walks back in with the book under its wing, jumps up on the counter, drops the book and goes bok, 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 bok. So again, I grabbed a different book, held it out, the chicken tucks us under its wing, jumps off the counter, walks outside. Now, just around the corner, there's a manhole in the ground, and the top of it was off for some reason. Maybe the maintenance guys were doing something, or a plumber was. And the chicken jumped down into the manhole, and as I crept over and had a look down, the chicken's there with the book under its arm going, but it's there looking at a frog. And the chicken goes, bok, 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 bok. And the frog goes, read it, read it, read it. So that was one. And the other one for the day is set in the Arctic Circle. Now, I know it's the Arctic because there's polar bears in the Arctic, and there aren't any polar bears in Antarctica. So it's up in the northern hemisphere of the world, in that ice cap thing up there called the Arctic. And there's, on an iceberg, on this particular day, there were 3 polar bears. There's father polar bear, mother polar bear, and baby polar bear. And they're on this iceberg, and the rain is raining, the wind is winding, the sleet is sleeting, the snow is snowing, and there's not much conversation that's going on. And Father Polar Bear's a bit concerned that his family's not communicating too much. And he's thinking, what can we talk about? What can we talk about? What's happened? And meanwhile, the rain keeps raining, the wind keeps winding, the sleet keeps sleeting, and the snow keeps snowing. And all of a sudden, Father Polar Bear goes, oh, I've got a tale to tell. And right at that same instant, Mother Polar Bear also goes, oh, I too have a tale to tell. And Baby Polar Bear says, my tale's told. I hope. Tyson's got it. Okay. Anyway, look, I hope you enjoyed those couple of jokes. If I hear them doing the rounds out in the communities, because you're retelling them, that'll be great. But yes, a bit of humour's good in the middle of everything, and hopefully you'll hang in for the lesson and don't just come for the jokes before you turn the TV off. Anyway, we're looking at the Australian culture and alcohol, and Australia is a noted place where alcohol is a big part of culture. We're famous for our drinking of alcohol, and look, even here in the Northern Territory, they put out figures something like the average person, well, it averages out at, I don't know, I'm making up a figure here, let's say 10 litres of alcohol is drunk per person across the Northern Territory. Well, I want to know, as a non-drinker, who's drinking my share? And, you know, and that takes in kids and everything else. So some people are drinking way too much. But let's have a look at the worksheet that we've got today. And it's a fairly simple one. So you will need your pencil and to put some ticks and circles in the right places. The first thing says, as Australians, we are renowned for being a nation of drinkers. Regular consumption of alcohol is deeply ingrained in our national identity. Do you think it is good or bad to have such a reputation as a nation of drinkers? So do you think, is it a good thing that we're known around the world as, hey, they drink a lot? Is that something we should be proud of? Something that doesn't matter? Doesn't it matter? And put down why you think that. If you want to be known as something, and look, I remember working at a school one time and saying how I'd never been drunk, and one of the guys in the staff room goes, "What? I can't believe that!" And he yells out, "Do you know this guy's never been drunk?" Well, I mean, I wasn't embarrassed by it. I was proud of the fact that, you know, I've stuck by my values and things. Anyway, that's a question for you to answer there is it a good or bad reputation to have as being a nation of drinkers? If we move on down the sheet, it then says, in Australia, its alcohol is strongly connected to social situations. You'll struggle to find a party or gathering that doesn't have alcohol in one form or another. It's common to go out for drinks to relax after work or to celebrate with friends and family. We have happy hours, birthday parties, holidays, etc., all places where we associate alcohol with things. So below are 4 situations. And you tick yes or no. Like I said, this is quite simple. If you think there would be alcohol or acceptable to have alcohol at the following events. If there's a wedding, do you think, is that a place where there would be alcohol or is acceptable to have alcohol or not? Tick or cross. What about a football match and a grand final? Is that a place where we associate alcohol being accepted? Again, a tick or a cross. Then we've got a funeral. Is that a place where we think that people are going to be drinking and it's an acceptable thing to do? Or maybe it's at a music festival. You know, it might be a bush band, or, you know, there's some sort of event with a lot of music on in your community. Is that a place where you would associate alcohol being there as well? So again, it's just a quick thing. You've got one sentence at the top of the page, and then you've either got 4 ticks, 4 crosses, or a mixture of that to finish that page. Let's go on to the next one. It says, with alcohol being strongly connected to social situations, this, amongst the younger generation, is common to have a lot of peer pressure to engage in alcohol consumption. Peers, that means people who are our own age that we associate with, or actually it doesn't need to be the same age, because, but they're just people that are around you, that in a sense are like equals, can pressure you to engage in activities that you may not have otherwise chosen on your own, such as drinking alcohol. Some people start drinking or drink too much due to peer pressure. Young people, like high school and college students, for example, are especially susceptible, which means that, I guess, they're particularly open and that pressure's there particularly to peer pressure. Sometimes they begin drinking alcohol to fit in, even if they never planned to do so. Yeah, and no, I guess, you know, part of that is thinking, you know, How does this reflect back on family? What are your values? What do you see that you're going to do? And I was thinking the other day when we were looking at some of the short-term effects and long-term effects of alcohol, and even thinking about the whole idea as, well, tonight, do I want to go and get a headache? Do I want to go and throw up? Do I want to go and pass out? Do I want to damage the inside of my body? I mean, all those things, if I ask those questions to you, you go, no way. And yet many people will choose to drink and drink to excess because, and knowing that that's going to be a part of the result of what's going to happen. So it really is a case of making some choices, setting some boundaries even to say that, okay, if I go out, I'm going to have one drink and that's it. Well, stay strong enough to do that. Working on down the sheet. Aside from peer pressure, what are the other reasons why people drink? Circle or colour below the words you think why people drink. Do people drink because they're stressed? Do people drink because of their family history? Do they drink because of social reasons, such as a barbecue or something? Do they drink because just to enjoy themselves or for the enjoyment of it? Do they drink because it's cool? Do they drink because it's fun? Do they drink because they want to be sad? Or sad situations they choose to drink? Do they drink because of the environment that they're in? Or do they drink to escape problems? And maybe part of that environment is that, I mean, look, part of the expectation is even going to a pub or a hotel where they do serve drinks, that's an environment where the pressure will be stronger to drink. You know, maybe the choice is, well, I'll just go to the shop in town where I can buy a soft drink or an iced coffee or something like that, or a water rather than the drinks. You determine the environment you're in. It's no mistake that Australians love to drink. Sometimes you can hear slang like, let's get on the piss, pass the grog, or I want to get blind drunk on the weekend. Teaching each other how to vortex, use beer snorkels, therefore fast becomes socially normal to do these alcohol party tricks in the land down under. Alcohol is all around Australia, from advertisements, games, TV shows, social media, to Australia's tourism industry advertising that we have the finest wineries in our countryside. And you know, you can go on tours, you can visit them, you get free samples. The expectation is that you drink, and it really is all around us in the media. So with all this bombarding that's happening to us, with all this getting into our ears and into our minds, you know, what sort of stand do you want to make? Below are 4 comic cartoon characters from the TV. These characters below are portrayed as alcoholics on popular TV shows watched by the younger generation. If you've seen these characters before or watched the shows, tick the boxes. So if you've seen them, if you've watched the shows, just put a tick in those boxes, and you might realise that even though you weren't out looking to be influenced by these or to watch shows that promote these things, it does happen anyway, and it's there all the time. So, you know, we've got our Australian culture does have alcohol in the centre of it. And, you know, but it's still a personal choice that everyone makes. But, you know, we've got to figure out exactly what am I going to use? What am I going to do? How much am I going to consume? Do I want to be a part of that? Is it a part of my traditional culture as well? You know, how does that fit in when I'm living in community? And being strong enough to know the reasons why or why not you want to do it. And yeah, look, that's the lesson for today, and hopefully you'll be thinking about some of these things as you go about your lives in the community, and we get closer to coming back here and being able to talk about it more back at school. So have a good day, God bless, and you'll get Miss Flo here in a few minutes.
Yo, yo! Everyone always waits for my greeting. I try. It sounds ridiculous. Hello, senior students, year 11 and 12s. We're here to do some maths. I'm holding this booklet again to remind you that this is what we're working on today. It's just a small section, but I've got a bit of information to start with to help you with the activity in this book. To start us off, we're going to have a look at a video, and it's got some different ways of measuring or counting. So let's have a look at that and I'll talk you through it. All right, so the first one we got here, the question is, what is this measuring object? Some people might know it, some people might not. If we move on, I'll tell you. It's an umpire counter for cricket. So I remember when I was a kid playing cricket, my dad used to be the umpire and he'd use this to count either how many overs that have been bowled, so 6 balls to an over, so you could count how many overs for each team, and also could count how many times the bowler has bowled the ball. There's also another one that can count the wickets that have been taken. So it just helps while they're out on the field to be able to count what's been happening in the game. So that's one different device. All right, what do you think this is? Now, this device, I was like, what is? Someone tell me what this is. And Mr. Mark actually explained what it is. Let's have a look. It's called a cubit. No, it's not for hitting people. A cubit is an ancient way of measuring length. So it was generally the length of the forearm, so from the tops of your middle finger to your elbow, like this gentleman is showing in the picture. It's referred to in the Bible, so they measured things in the Bible and they used cubits. And it's a Latin word for elbow or lower arm. And it was a way to, see how big or small something was using your arm. All right, what does this mean? I'm looking at this horse and it says this horse is 14HH. And it's got an arrow from its hooves up to its neck. What do you reckon this means? Let's have a look. Horses are measured in hands, okay? And you can see in the picture the hands go sideways and you go one on top of the other. HH stands for hands high. Now, hands were a really good way of measuring in ancient times. And this would be a bit the same with the cubit in the previous slide. People didn't have standard measuring devices, so they had to use what they had on them. So they didn't have a ruler or a tape measure, they had to use parts of their body. So it was a free and easy way to measure. And also people didn't have to carry around a tool to measure the horses. So if you were at a market maybe and you thought, I want to buy this horse, you didn't have to whip out a ruler or a tape measure. You could just use your hands to see how big it was. So, and they're still measured in hands today, horses. Okay, I think this is the last one. What is this measuring object? It kind of looks like a ruler. It's probably similar. It's called a set square. So a set square, it's used to measure right angles, which is 90 degrees. And it's really important for making furniture and whenever you need to join things, because if you get that wrong, things may not work. And if people's sitting on a chair and it's not measured properly, it might break or not do the right job. So make sure that your lines are straight when you're making a cut or a join. All right, that's a set square. And I believe that is it. I'm getting the thumbs up from behind the camera. So that's just to get you thinking about some different ways of measuring. Now, because there are all these different ways of measuring, and in the olden times there were hands, there were cubits, there were probably many other ways. Today in Australia we use a system called the metric system of measurement. So I'm just going to introduce you to that. You've probably already heard of it, but I'll give you some tips about it. So metric system of measurement. It's a way to measure accurately. Okay, so the measurement is always the same. The measurement system is used in Australia and it's used in many other countries, but I know that there are a couple of countries that use a different system. It is used to measure distance, length, volume, weight and temperature. And here are some of the ways, like this is for weight, this is to measure volume, length, okay, and here are some other pictures, temperatures there. We've got a tape measure. So it has different devices that can help measure the metric system. Okay, so today we're actually going to look at the metric system to look at length or distance. So I'm going to come over to the board and I'm going to show you what we're looking at today. So here is what we've got 4 different measurements. The first one we're looking at is millimetres, and that's usually you'll see a mm. And I've written very small because I don't even know if you can see this, but there's this tiny little, it's like the equivalent to 10 bits of paper put on top of each other. It is very small, and that is 1 millimetre. So that's one way of measuring. The next is centimetres. So centimetres is a bit bigger, and you can see it's about, for me, about the width of my index finger here. So that's a centimetre, and usually you see it cm. Next one is metres. Now we actually have an example. I'm going to cross over here. This is a metre. Okay, so that is how far a metre is. So I'm just going to chuck that there. All right, and the fourth one we're going to look at is kilometres, or kilometres, depends how you say it. Now, I can't actually show you a kilometre here because it's too big, but I can tell you that there are 1,000 kilometres in a metre, 1,000 metres in a kilometre. So 1,000 of these make one of these, all right? And I just want to do that, 1,000 of those. Oh, okay. Then, if we look at centimetres, there are 100 centimetres. Sorry, I've done this wrong around. 100 metres in a centimetre. All right. We need to sort of go like this. I think I've done the wrong around. So there's 100 centimetres in a metre. So 100 of these, boom, 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 in a metre. And then this one, there are 10 centimetres in a millimetre. So 10 of these, 1, 2, 3, sorry, other way around again. 10 millimetres in a centimetre, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 fit into that. Sorry if I've confused you, but you can see that it goes up and up and up. All right, from that information, if you can work out what I was trying to say, we're going to do one little activity that's about what we would use to measure some things in our lives. So I'm going to come back to the camera here, and we're going to have a look at, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 things that we're going to say whether you measure them in millimetres, centimetres, metres or kilometres, all right? And I'm going to do this right now with you. So if we're looking at an esky, and this is an esky here, and that's where you might keep your cool drinks or food, what would we measure an esky in? Millimetres, I would say, is too small, and I might even, oh no, that's all right. Millimetres might be too small, metres might be too big, so I would say you would measure an esky in centimetres, all right? Let's go across to here, a basketball hoop. Now, a basketball hoop could be about 2 people standing on top of each other, and so centimetres might be a bit small. Kilometres is too big. I'd say we'd go for metres, and I'm just doing the short way of writing it. So this is centimetres, this is metres. AFL field. Now, if you think you're able to run from one side of an AFL field to another, and you can do that fairly easily, depends how fit you are, I guess, but kilometres might be a little bit too big, centimetres might be a little bit too small, might take you too long to measure. So I would say we would measure an AFL field with metres. All right. Okay, here we go, fingernails. This is a fairly small thing to measure. So, fingernails, I think you could do centimetres, but mine I don't even think would make one. So, centimetres might be too big. I don't know anything lower than millimetres now off the top of my head, so I think we go with millimetres. Okay, that's the really small one, like a couple of bits of paper together. What about a drive to Tennant Creek? When we're driving, we usually go by kilometres. Metres is a bit small. Kilometres is good because we can cover bigger distances by using kilometres. So I'm writing that small, just the shorthand, km, kilometres. Last one, a puppy. So I have to think about how big a puppy is. If I was holding a little puppy, I reckon metres is going to be too big. I think millimetres is way too small. I'm going to go with centimetres because it could be about the length of a ruler. So let's go. Our puppy is centimetres. All right. Now that's actually all we're going to do today. That was one of our activities in our workbook. And it just gets us thinking about how we measure distance or length in centimetres, metres, kilometres and millimetres. And it can be a bit tricky and confusing. We've been looking at it in the class and we've been learning a lot because we get confused with how many centimetres, how many millimetres in a centimetre, how many centimetres in a metre, how many metres in a kilometre. It gets very confusing, but that's what we'll be looking at over the next couple of weeks and we'll get better at it. For now, I'm going to leave you to the afternoon and actually tomorrow I won't be here, so Mr. Paul will take maths and he'll take integrated learning, but I will be back on Thursday. So thanks for listening. See ya.
Welcome back to Yirara.